Hello, my name is Jeff. This is Castle Toolage, your two-way self-defense law network. This is going to be a topic that I've never verbally gone over before. It's stuck in my brain, and hopefully it'll come together fairly nicely. About 4 or 5 months ago, I went to a legal seminar, and I turned out to be a sales meeting for one of those legal so-called insurance programs. And what was said in there, and I do have this guy here. Here's this guy right here, E. Alan Chandler. I mean, he has a pretty impressive resume right there. What he said is that Mass Ayoob is wrong when it comes to talking a little. Now, I've talked about this a little bit. There are different various ways on how to go about your business after a legal shooting, a self-defense event. There's the talk little method, there's the don't talk at all method, and you go from there. Now this E. Alan Chandler is don't talk at all. And Mass Ayoob is you need to talk little. And then you have another part where you have Andrew Branca, who's basically in the middle of it, because he goes, well, it really depends on you as the person. He says if you are a person who can't shut up, well, don't talk. But if you're a person that can get out the middle, that is going to be optimum. Now, when I was in front of this E. Alan Chandler, I didn't say anything because I'm not a person to climb down someone's throat on a topic that I'm behind the 8 ball in. And it really took me about 5 or 6 months to really understand what E. Alan Chandler was saying in his position and what Mass Ayoob was saying in his position. And I am fully in the court with Mass Ayoob and Andrew Branca in this, and I think Alan Chandler is wrong. The say nothing effect makes you look like a criminal. If it talks like if typically when someone calls the police, when they're looking at a person laying in blood on the floor and another person has a smoking gun, the police are going to be looking at the floor and saying, hey, he is the victim. Now, if we take E. Alan Chandler's advice, he says, don't say anything at all. And then he gets into a bunch of narcissistic sausage-making things where he's a better lawyer than other people. And you know something? I don't want a lawyer proving to other lawyers that they are better than they are and bet my 20 to 30-year life on it. Okay? That's what Alan Chandler Jr. Is to me. Okay? Now, let's take this from Mass Ayoob's position. He likes to defend innocent people, where E. Alan Chandler is a criminal defense. He handles criminal defense. And 97% of defensive shootings out there are bull. They are a criminal trying to hide the fact that something else is wrong. Alan, he goes by Alan. Alan's position, he's been a defense attorney, he's been a prosecutor, he did something, the former Army JAG attorney across the seas, and I think his point of view is, yes, if you're a criminal, don't talk. Everyone who I deal with is a criminal. Where Mass Ayoob says, hey, I only deal with good guy shootings. And there's a different way to handle good guy shootings. If someone came up to you and tried to kill you or your loved one, you want to profess out loud, this SOB tried to murder me, tried to kill me, but E. Alan Chandler says, shut up. Don't do it. That's when you start looking like a criminal. There is a lot of people who do everything right as far as the defensive self-defense event goes, but starts to look like a criminal afterwards. When the police come in, they're going to say, dead person on the floor, smoking gun, and now he's shutting up. He doesn't want to say anything, But when an innocent person is innocent, they want to profess to everybody that they are innocent. Now, when the ambulance people come in, ambulance people are considered cleaners of evidence, where they walk in, they track out certain evidence, or they cover up certain other evidence. The perfect example is if you're in a street and the person is shooting at you, but cars go over, the ambulance comes in, the brass, and this happens all the time, the brass gets caught up in the police officer's shoes, it gets caught up in the ambulance's shoes, it gets caught up in any tread that the person goes over, so evidence could be found. It could be by happenstance. It could be there one day, the person doesn't say anything, the weather could take it away, snow could go down, and then a plow comes. Whatever the situation is, that is why the optimum approach is to tell the little. And I think I got, yeah, I don't think I can get past that. Yeah, I have this, I can't get past this thing up there. But the say little approach is this. You want to say, that is the person that defended me. The gun slid over here. The knife is over here. Those are the witnesses. And you're really not saying anything that is going to be criminally liable to you from a perspective of how adrenaline goes on in your body and you saying something wrong. You're specifically pointing out the facts here, here, and here. This is where you need to take a look at this. I'm the victim, not the person on the floor pulling up. But the problem with what E. Allen Chandler would say is, don't say that the knife slid into the gutter. Don't say that those people walking away are witnesses. Don't say anything. This is another thing. Allen said, don't go to the hospital afterwards. If you were in a scrapping match, and the perfect example is Zimmerman. Zimmerman had a bunch of wounds on the back of his head, and if that police officer didn't have the wherewithal to take the pictures of it, that evidence may have never come to avail. And George Zimmerman got raked over the coals because a 17-year-old kid who had him, was beating him up, he wasn't in physical, he turned down medical attention. And you guys realize that us guys that are over 50, you know that the frequency of heart attacks after a life and death event goes sky high with us after 50. So you getting to the hospital, again, I agree with Allen Chandler. If you're a criminal, if you have blood or if you have alcohol in your system, if you have drugs in your system, don't go to the hospital. But if you are a good guy, you want to go to the hospital for the injuries, for that exculpatory evidence that will make you the victim and the bad guy who is laying probably in the morgue by now, your attacker. But with E. Allen Chandler, with the say nothing approach, and you got to understand, Allen Chandler isn't the only criminal defense lawyer that says don't talk. If you get a criminal defense lawyer who says don't say anything, he may not be the right guy for you because he is a criminal defense attorney. He is not a good guy defense attorney who is working with an innocent person. And once you start going down that road, when the police officer is going, has a bill, has webbed feet, is he a duck? He's quacking. He's quacking like a duck. Is he a bad guy? Well, what do bad guys do? They shut up. They don't do anything. They don't say anything. They don't cooperate. And they start looking like a criminal. And at that point, maybe the police officers at the scene start looking at you like a criminal by not saying anything. If you just said, if there was a scene where they couldn't find a gun, where the person that you shot had another guy who was quietly sneaking off with the gun and say, hey, he was with the bad guy, he just took the gun. Would you not say anything? again, I agree with Andrew Bronca. If you can't, you gotta know your own self and how stress works on you. If you can't stop talking, yes, you're probably better off shutting up. But if you can have the wits about yourself, saying that this is the bad guy, I want to sign a complaint, the weapon is over here, the witnesses are over here, by giving them general information like that is going to go a long way than looking like a criminal afterwards. Okay? So when you think of what you're going to be doing after, as Mass Ayoob says, after that last brass shot stops to roll, if you start looking like a criminal, the police officers, the state, whomever, may start looking at you as a criminal. And once you are marked as a criminal by your behavior, it goes from there. I also want to talk a little bit about mens rea. Mens rea is your mindset. There are some lawyers out there that have written books like Dale Carson. I don't know if he said this specifically, that if you use your gun and you shot a gun, pick up your brass, walk away if no one walks away. Okay. I'm not a big fan of that because there's so many cameras or witnesses that can come to avail later on. And if you are the complete good guy where you were defending yourself from life, from death or great bodily harm, you picked up the brass, you never called 911, what does that look like? Are you a duck? Are you starting to get web feet? Maybe a bill? Maybe crack a little bit? That's the beginning stages of you looking like a criminal. The saying is, if you shoot somebody on your porch, bring them into the house. Well, you get extra protections, but CSI people are going to realize where the shooting, the blood splatter, all that is cooperative. And if the facts don't line up with your story, mens rea comes in. If you move the body from the porch into the kitchen, that's what a guilty person would do, right? That's what mens rea does. So if you do the E. Allen Chandler version of this and not say anything, are you starting to quack like a duck? You getting web feet? I'm not sure. It really depends on how you do it. Again, Allen Chandler, in his position, and other defense attorneys are criminal defense attorneys. They are used to defending criminals. Massad Ayoob defends good guy shoots. Good guy shoots should be defended differently from good guy or criminal. Is your mens rea is an innocent and a victim, or is your mens rea a criminal who is not wanting to cooperate? So the thing is with Mass Ayoob, again, tell them certain things. You've been attacked. The weapon is over here. The bullets are over here, there. The witnesses are over here. And then tell them, I'm still a little bit shaky right now. I want to talk to my lawyer at that point. Cops usually recognize this because they have a waiting period of up to 72 hours before their union will even let them talk about what a shooting does. And after you had 2 good cycles of sleep, your memory is more trusted those 3 days later compared to the hours after the event. All right. My name is Jeff. This is Castle Tools, your 2A self-defense network. I hope this helped.